let me do that again. Welcome. We have Mr. Jim Briggs. He is a YouTube content creator. And if you are as excited as I am, I want to learn what it is to be a content creator. And it's, you know, a lot of people are doing that now. So let's learn how to become one. What is the career to become a content creator? But before that, let's do a little housekeeping. Make sure you check in, high school students. You need to check in so that your teachers knows that you are here and not anywhere else. And if you have questions and doesn't know how to formulate it, there's a great questions document. And also the evaluation form. High school students, it's very important that you do the evaluation form and make sure you do it right after the event so that you can remember. And this is very important because this is what you need to do in order to graduate. This is a requirement. And make sure that you're muted. You can turn on your camera so that we can see you. Mr. Briggs can see you. And if you have any questions, put it on the chat. And you don't need to wait until the whole thing is over. Just put it on the chat. And yeah, let's have Mr. Jim Briggs.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Let me get some lights in here. I guess that's okay. Okay, how is everyone today? I guess you're not going to be able to answer me because you're all muted out. My name is Briggs. Most people just call me Briggs, not Jim Briggs, but thanks for calling me Jim. That's just, people just call me Briggs. I don't know why. Anyway, so I am a YouTube creator, and I've been doing it now about, I don't know, it's technically I started in 2015, but I really didn't start doing it until 2017. So I had this channel that just sat there for 2 years and really didn't do anything until about 2017. And actually, I would say early 2018, I quit my job and started doing YouTube full time. And honestly, it's the best decision I ever made. It's worked out really well for me. But I have 2 channels. One's called World According to Briggs. It's a list channel. List channel focused on locations like top 10 reasons not to move to Seattle, top 10 reasons not to move to this place, and best small towns in Georgia, things like that. I do a lot of research on the US Census. I do a lot of traveling, and I make videos about it. And yeah, that's what I do for a living. I have 5 employees now, and a whole bunch of equipment. What do you guys want to know?
First is, why did you started to become YouTube creator?
Oh, so my wife was late going someplace, and if you sign up at GameStop, they send you this magazine. So I guess my kids had signed up for something at GameStop, and on the cover it said YouTuber makes $14 million a year. So while I was waiting for my wife, I read that article. It ends up, you guys probably know him, I'm sure you do. PewDiePie. PewDiePie made $14 million a year, probably around 2015 and maybe 16. So I read that, and my first thought was, well, I need to make $14 million a year. That would really, kind of make me a happy person. So I started looking into YouTube, and I kind of did a ton of research and figured out what I wanted to do. I tried a couple different things and kind of settled on the list thing because I made a joke video of top 10 reasons not to move to Portland, Oregon. And it was just a bunch of stereotypical Portland things. And it was really a joke. Well, that video took off, and I was okay, so I'm on to something. So I kind of adjusted what I was doing and started making lists on that quest to make $14 million a year like PewDiePie.
The other question is, well, I've heard YouTube is a risky job. Is that true?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's risky, no matter what job you take, no matter what career path you take. I mean, but it's so you have people that want to become actors, and you've got 1 in 10,000 are actually going to make a living being an actor. I think YouTube has a little bit better potential than that. I'm sure if you follow the rules of YouTube and you follow a strategy, you can make money on YouTube. If it's a 20-year career, I'd be shocked, but you could make it for a while, I think. Did that answer your question? Because I kind of got on sideways in my brain a little bit.
Um, do you have to learn video editing by yourself when you started?
Yeah, I mean, it helps if you know it ahead of time, but everything I learned about YouTube, learned on YouTube. So I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know anything about cameras before that. I was a stand-up comedian for a while, so I knew how to talk and I knew how to engage an audience and things like that. So that was the only skill I brought to YouTube. Everything else I learned on YouTube.
How many subscribers do you have, and what do you think is best software to use?
Okay, so right now I have almost 700,000 subscribers on my main channel. I have two other channels that have like 30,000 and 25,000, something like that. Those ones just got started last year. So we have three channels in total, and I have over 800,000 subscribers combined, or close to 800,000. Sorry, can't even do math this morning. But the software I use is Premiere Pro. I didn't start off with Premiere Pro. I started off with what was called Sony Vegas, because in the 90s I'd looked into editing. I just kind of glanced at it on a thing, and that was the big one at the time. So when I started, oh, Sony Vegas is the best. I didn't realize that's 10-year-old information I had. And Premiere Pro, which is made by Adobe, that's the best. That's the industry standard right now. So about a year and a half ago, I switched over to that.
Did you ever think that your channel would crash without becoming popular?
Oh yeah, I mean, originally I started off just thinking I wanted to make some extra money and have a good time doing it. Because like I said, I've been a stand-up comedian, and there's this thing about stand-up comedy. It gets in your blood and you need to do it more and more and more. And I got tired of it, but I still wanted to do it. And so this was kind of, I looked at it like a creative outlet for that. And so I thought I'd do that as the creative outlet and then hopefully make, a couple $100 a month. Well, it went way beyond a couple $100 a month.
Do you get free stuff like free travel, free food, free stay?
I do. I get free travel. I have different companies that I've done things for and made videos about that will give me free travel. I get stuff sent in the mail all the time that I never use. That cabinet back there is filled with equipment that's been sent to me that I've maybe used half of it. So yeah, you do get a lot of freebies.
So tell us about when you started on your YouTube career. Did you have a second job in the beginning?
So yeah, I was when I moved, I grew up in Los Angeles. I got out of the Army, and then we stayed in Los Angeles for a couple more years, then finally moved up here to Oregon. That was in 2010, and I was a supervisor at Netflix. That was like my first real legitimate job outside the military. And so I was a supervisor at Netflix for a couple of years, and then moved to Comcast, did the same thing there. And, typical 80-hour week jobs, maybe a little bit more. And as the YouTube thing started growing while I was at Comcast, I decided to take a job that only worked 3 days a week, which was at Nike. And then I had 4 days off, but it was still a full-time job. And that helped me build my channel and gave me that 4 days a week to where I could just pump out content and learn about YouTube. And that really helped me. And then I only worked at Nike for about a year, and I was doing better on YouTube than I was working there. So I'm like, well, time to go full time. And I did, and it's worked out.
How long did it, like, when you feel like, okay, I'm going to do this full time now to be able to make money?
To make money at it. So like I said, the channel started in 2015. I think I read that article in late 2016, early 2017. And I would say by, like I said, mid 2018 is when I May actually is when I quit Nike. And I've been full-time at it since then. So, I mean, talk about a year and a half of just grinding out content and learning everything I could got me to the point where I didn't really need a job anymore.
And what is the minimal equipment when you started?
Your cell phone. That's all you need. You could start a YouTube channel right now with a cell phone, and it doesn't have to even be the latest cell phone. The golden rule of YouTube is consistency. What are you uploading? After that, you want quality, or how often are you uploading? After that, you want quality, and then just build from there. But consistency is the most important thing about YouTube, and you can be easiest way to be consistent is carrying the phone that you have with you all the time.
So how do you make money? How do you get paid?
So there's several different ways to make money on YouTube. One, those ads that run before the video, those pay the most. So you can't get away from those. You have the pop-up ones. You can get a pop-up blocker, those block those, but those really don't make YouTubers much money. It's that video that you could skip through, that makes them money. Each time someone watches that, I get pennies. But when you get hundreds of thousands of views a day, those pennies add up. And that's how you make your money. After that, I have sponsorships that I do occasionally. And then there's memberships to my channel where people give me anywhere from $1.99 to, I have some people that give me like $50 a month, just kind of like donate to my channel.
So basically, if someone's kind of like subscribed, like paid the YouTube to not get the commercial and advertisement, you don't get the money for that?
So all that goes into a pool every month, and how many people you watch that have that paid, I do get a cut of that too. So they have all those people, they put it in a pool, and then they distribute it by how much you got of that audience.
So also like you get paid like how many views on your channel?
Yeah.
On that particular thing?
Well, it's views versus, excuse me, sorry. It's views versus what they call it'll get too complicated with this. But every time you see an ad, that's when I get paid. That's how it works. Sometimes you might see 2 ads in a video. I get a couple pennies for each one of those. That's just it.
How long does it take for you to record, edit, and upload the videos?
Okay. So in the beginning, it takes a lot of time. To do one video a week, it usually took me about 2 days. That's when I was doing it by myself. And it was a pain, and it took forever, and it really didn't seem like it was going to be a return on investment in my time. And then as I got better, it got down to I could knock out a video. If I started at 8 in the morning, I could finish by 2 or 3 in the afternoon and have a video uploaded, and it would be decent quality for what it was a few years back. Then my son got out of the Army in late 2018, and he learned how to edit. So now I record, which that takes me about an hour and a half to record whatever I'm doing. I give it to him. Takes him about 2 hours, 3 hours to edit the video, and then we add some graphics, and then we upload it. I have a second son who just got out of graduated Loa last year, and he does graphics for it. So between the 3 of us, and then we have another person that researches, we're probably talking 9 hours of everyone's time, or a couple hours here. Everyone has a couple hours they put into it, and then we produce a video.
So what is your favorite thing to watch on YouTube?
My favorite thing to watch on YouTube, I used to love watching people get tased by the police. I don't know why. I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. I don't know why. But I used to watch that a lot. Now I watch other like political commentary people like John Oliver, Philip DeFranco, and there's some blogs, people still doing vlogs that I really like to watch.
How do you make your videos to be so popular? Are there any certain methods you use to beat the YouTube algorithm?
Well, yeah, the algorithm changes all the time, but I have a couple things that I've done and I still do to kind of trick the system. So like I said, I'm a comedian and I like to, kind of trick people sometimes. So one of the easiest ways I learned for my channel to get people to comment a couple of years ago, comments were the most important thing to a YouTube channel. It showed YouTube that people were interacting with my content. So I came up with ways to get people to leave comments. The easiest way was mispronounce things. Like we're all from around here. You know someone that's come here and called the Willamette River something weird. I have a friend called it the Wilhelmina River. So I will look at places and I'll pronounce things in a weird way, and that just the content or the comments just start coming in. Locals can't handle it when you mispronounce something. It's just how it is. So I learned that and just kind of stuck with it. Also, if you make a mistake on a video, like if you're, make any kind of minor error, people can, there's just a certain amount of the population that can't stop themselves from correcting you. So I don't mind it if I make a mistake. I sometimes leave it so they'll comment.
So you basically kind of like intentionally try to make a mistake so that there's a conversation.
Sometimes, especially with the pronunciation. Sometimes, like if I've made a small mistake, if I made a glaringly large mistake, I'll pull down the video and fix it. But if it's something minor that really isn't giving bad information or a mispronunciation, I'm all on board with that one. Yeah, leave your comments.
What skills and personal qualities are needed for this job?
What skills and personal qualities? You have to be one of those people that doesn't need someone forcing you to work. You have to be self-motivated. That is probably one of the most important personality traits. I think that's part of this, because I didn't have to get up at 8 in the morning to work on videos. Today, I mean, I didn't have to. I have all my videos made for the next week. If I wanted to lay in bed, watch TV today, I could have, but I get up to do things like this and to make more videos. So you have to be self-motivated to do it. And then after that, you have to be dedicated. You have to be dedicated to what you're doing and willing to learn all along the way.
What is the least that what do you like least about your job?
What I like least about my job, I watch the stats a lot. So when I put up a video, which everyone says not to, but I stare at the stats and I'm watching graphs, almost like one of those guys that's addicted to the stock market. Yeah, I'm watching graphs, I'm watching charts, I'm watching stats, how they change, and trying to figure out what people are watching, what they want to see, what they hated, and then I make notes on it so I don't make those mistakes in the next video. Sometimes if you watch my video and you see the thumbnail, 2 hours later you might see another thumbnail because I didn't feel that one was working for people. So that's the biggest problem, that there's a certain amount of anxiety with every single upload. Is it going to do good or is it going to be a flop?
Is there a glitch on YouTube that unsubscribe you? Is that true?
So if you have a bunch of accounts, I know there's been different things, but if you have a bunch of accounts, or if you've been being a troll too often on someone, you can get unsubscribed. I've heard things like that. They kind of keep little things like that to themselves, but I've heard things where you get unsubscribed, and especially if you're just on a channel being negative or being a troll all the time. So I've heard things like that. I don't know how real that is.
How many hours do you usually work per week?
Do I normally work for a week? I would say actual hours. Okay, so this is how my day normally goes. I get up and I, might be working on a script for an hour. Then I might go to the gym for an hour. And then I'll come back and I'll, eat something. And then maybe I'll work for another hour. So in total, I probably work about 5 hours a day. But I spend a lot of time just wasting time is really what I do. But it's that wasting time is always centered around learning something about YouTube. Now, if I sat down and actually focused and did everything like a hardcore, I have to get this done, I was on a deadline, I probably do 4 hours a day.
So there's a question from Evergreen Middle School.
Okay.
What kind of car do you drive?
Well, I have a couple Subarus. Yeah, that's it. I just drive Subaru. I'm not a car guy. I know a lot of YouTubers will get these really expensive cars. I could win $1 billion in the lottery tomorrow and I'd probably keep my Subaru. I'm just not a car guy. My computer, on the other hand, they're always amazing. That's where I go way overboard.
How many views has your your biggest video had?
I think I have one that's got like 4 million views, which there's other channels that will get 10 million views on a video, 20 million views, but there are those channels that maybe they have a younger audience, or they have, they got lucky with the video and it blew up. Mine consistently get around 100,000 to 500,000 within 6 months, I'd say.
Who is your biggest sponsor?
My biggest sponsor, actually, there's several of them, but they're usually tourists, like cities, their tourism department and stuff like that. They're usually the ones that I get the most from, and it's all individual ones. I don't have like one big one like Nike. Nike hasn't given me a dime yet. I'm waiting because I buy enough of their shoes. I'd like them to, kick me out something. But yeah, it's usually, commerce departments and stuff like that from different cities. They're usually the ones that'll pay for me to do a video.
Do you focus on quality or quantity?
So I would say I have 3 videos out a week, and my quality is I'm always trying to get better. So my quality isn't the best. I'm sure you're going to find other channels that have better quality, but I'm consistent. So that's what people don't want, the best quality on YouTube, unless you're in a certain niche, maybe a photography channel or something like that. Then they want to see some serious quality. Or if you're a channel that talks about video editing, they want to see some serious quality. For me, they want to hear my information, and I just try and get a little bit better all the time. So I think I like consistency over quality. I mean, don't let your quality drop, but be consistent.
What do you do in your free time that's not related to YouTube?
I walk around Jenkins Estates. I plan cruises. I go traveling places. My free time is really always kind of,
Would you say that psychology is involved in YouTube creators?
Psychology, meaning?
Like, do you involve like trying to understand other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that I've always done that. I come from, like I said, when I was in the Army, I interrogated people. I did this thing called human intelligence, which if you ever watch an old World War II movie, you have your interrogators, and then you have the guy that would actually kind of talk to them before they go to the interrogators. That's sort of what I did. It's human intel. You always watch World War II movies, and some German guy stops someone on a platform and goes, "Your papers?" And then he'll talk to him for a minute, and he's all, "Why don't you come with me?" That's kind of what I did. So I learned how to read people there. Then when I was a stand-up comedian, I got even deeper into it. So that's part of my job, is I find out what people like, what they react to, and I kind of adjust to it.
How has the pandemic impacted your work?
Oh, I didn't get to travel as much, so I had to rely on old videos I had and make, luckily I've been doing a ton of traveling. I have gigabytes of video that I could use, and I just made videos from past video content that I had, and it did pretty good. I didn't have to travel that much, so I really got more done.
What is the hardest thing about your job?
Again, getting up and doing it, and being obsessed with the stats and the analytics.
If you were to start again, would you jump right into this career, or like not being a comedian, or what would you do?
Yeah, I would probably, if I could just do comedy in Portland only, I'd still be doing that. But they want you to travel, and that's what I got tired of, having to go to Indianapolis for a week and sitting there in a hotel room. That's the worst part about comedy. I love being on stage and I love doing the comedy, but the travel and staying in bad hotels, really wears you out after a while. But I would probably be doing that still, but this works out even better for me in the long run, I guess you could say. I hope that answered your question.
So, okay, Evergreen Middle School is asking, how tall are you?
I'm like 5'9".
And they are asking, what is your educational background?
My educational background, I have a 2-year degree. Since I was in the Army, I'd take classes when I could. And it actually took me like 6 years to get that 2-year degree. And when I got out, I was on to other things. And that's just kind of where I stopped. Life takes you different directions, but don't follow me as a, don't follow my school career and make it your own. You just keep going to school. I just got lucky.
What is your advice for a gaming channel?
A gaming channel? So a gaming channel is a little bit different, but there's ways you could succeed in it. Make sure your backdrop is interesting. Don't ask me why. If you have a lame backdrop, people don't watch you that much. So that's one thing. Be engaging with your people. When you upload a video, learn how to communicate with them while you're playing the game and reading your comments. That's very important. They're showing up to feel like they're hanging out with you. And if you're just playing the game and barely reacting to what's going on your chat, your channel will fail. That's just a gimme. But learn how to read the comments, react while you're playing your game. And that's the key to a gaming channel. And that's a skill you'll pick up as time goes on. Also with gaming channels, you get a lot of people that, like I said, they want to feel like they're hanging out with a friend and watching a game. Make sure you, after a video is uploaded, go back and comment to them. Leave comments all the time. That should be a big part of your non-upload days, is just going over comments and talking to people.
How do you know what your target audience is?
There's an analytic for it. There's analytics for everything. But if you, oh, there's a question. Anyway, sorry. I look at my audience, and as time went on, it started to shake out that my audience was over 20. And I have hardly any teenagers to my channel. So that's probably why a lot of you guys have never heard of me. Because I focus on travel. When you're in middle school, you're not really thinking about travel. So I focus on travel, and I learned that my audience was a little bit older. There's some bonuses to that. Those ads you see are targeted towards an older audience, and they pay me more. So you can have a gaming channel that gets 5 million views more than I do every single month, and I'm still going to make more because I have a better audience, financial or advertising wise. But you could see the analytics and you learn what your audience is. I mostly male, mostly over the age of 30. That's what I target.
Do you get to collaborate with other YouTube creators?
I have, but I don't like to. There's a couple, like there's a guy who does very similar stuff to that I do, named Nick Johnson. Me and him are friends, I guess you could say, and we've done some things together. And then there's another guy called Mr. Beast. He's Mr. Beat. That's like his last name. He does stuff. He's actually a high school teacher in Oklahoma, I think, and he does somewhat similar things that I do. Like he'll compare California to Oregon. So we've done some things together too.
What is your thoughts about competitive YouTubers, the ones who compete against another to get followers?
There's plenty of YouTube for everyone. If you're trying to outdo someone else to get ahead of them, you're looking at, you could be doing the same type videos. Like me and Nick Johnson, we have some of the same people watch both our channels, but really he's got his own audience, I got my own audience. And that's why you collaborate, so you could kind of cross your audiences a little bit. But I don't think you really need to compete about things. That when you start doing that, you're giving yourself extra ulcers that you don't need. Just keep doing what you do and you'll find an audience.
How much do likes, really, does it matter as a YouTuber?
No, likes don't really matter. I'm sure down in the YouTube algorithm, there's some need for them, but they used to be a lot more. That used to be when the engagement thing, comments, likes, and dislikes. What people don't know, dislikes, they were the same as likes. They've kind of gotten rid of dislikes, but all YouTube saw it as was an engagement. So you could give me 50 dislikes and I could have 5 likes and I still look good to the algorithm because people are reacting to what I'm doing.
Andrew Olson's asking, he just recently watched this video of Mr. Beast new Squid Game video, popularity and success. So he talked about the methods he used in making the viewers engage throughout the whole video. Will you use that kinds of methods as he does?
Yeah. So he's a genius. As far as YouTube goes, he sat down and did what I did, just evaluate, learn, and do everything he can about YouTube. He did it way better than I do. He's the biggest YouTuber now, and he knows basically how to get an audience to watch everything from the thumbnail to how he words his title is just done perfectly to get people to react and watch his videos. That Squid Game video, oh my, that was amazing. It was better than, it actually got more views than the actual Squid Game movie on Netflix.
What is your advice for YouTube audience retention?
Keep them interesting, keep it fast paced. If you watch my channel, there's no there's no pauses when I speak. When I'm speaking, I talk like this and it goes very fast and I keep giving stats and I keep giving numbers and it goes like that. That's how I talk on my videos because that keeps people engaged. If I start having pauses like that, people start checking out. So I got to keep talking, keep them interested, keep them waiting for the next word. That's the most important thing. When you have pauses, when you have delays, you start losing people.
Do you ever do live streams?
I do on occasion, but recently I've switched them to only my subscribers can see when I'm live streaming. So the general public doesn't see them anymore. That's because when you do it to the general public, you have a bunch of people that aren't engaged in your channel and they're just showing up to be negative. So I've kind of cut the general public out of my live streams and only do it for my members and my subscribers. Members are the people that give me money every month to keep my channel going. And then my subscribers are my subscribers. So yeah, so if you look on my channel, you're not going to see many live streams. I do them kind of often. At least I like to do them at least once a month.
Well, do you have Instagram or TikTok?
I do. I have Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I'm kind of getting away from it. But they're World 2 Briggs, the number 2. So it's just World 2 Briggs. That's my thing.
Will you ever change away from travel content?
You know, if my channel really starts to take a nosedive, which nothing lasts forever, so that could happen in the next 5 years or so, I might have to pivot. But I'll probably stay close to what I'm doing because, I mean, eventually I'm going to run out of things to talk about when it comes to travel, and I'm going to have to figure something else out. There's a channel that does lists called Watch Mojo. They're probably the biggest list channel out there. As a matter of fact, I know they are. And there's something new every week. The best quotes from Mel Gibson movies to the next video might be the best places to live in the Philippines or something like that. They're just all over the map, but they're huge so they could do that. If I were to switch too soon, I'd alienate a lot of the people that show up to see content about the United States. So yeah, eventually I might, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
So the Evergreen Middle School is asking, what can they do now to get started?
What can you do now to get started? Go to YouTube and type in how to get started on YouTube. That's how I learned. That's what I started doing. And that'll lead you down a path like cameras. Do you need cameras? What kind of content do you want to make? Things like that. But I will tell you one thing from someone that's learned, the most important thing to YouTube is consistency. I don't care what you do, just be consistent. If you can upload once a month, make it once a month. If you can get once a week, even better. If you can get twice a week, amazing. If you can get 3 times a week, I can almost guarantee you will find success.
Have you ever done an episode on ghost hunting? How would you find a place that is haunted to explore?
So I've done a couple ones on hauntings and places where people have gone missing, just disappeared. That one was very interesting. I really like doing that one. but I've done some like that, and that's pretty easy. You just go on the internet and you find places that have a history of being haunted, and you either go there or you find content around that place and you talk about what you found. That's how I do it.
Have you ever met a fan in public, and what was the experience like?
I do a lot, and it's usually when I start talking. Not recently, I was at Kaiser. I had an appointment, and I was talking to the reception lady, and someone behind me go, "You sound just like that YouTuber Briggs." I was like, "Yeah." And the girl looks at my card and she smiled at me, and I was like, "But I've gotten it before to where people recognize my voice. I don't always show my face. I'm an older YouTuber. That doesn't really translate well, so it's mostly my voice anyway. I don't put my face up there that often. So they rarely recognize me by my face. My voice, yes, all the time.
How do you stay consistent?
You just have to be motivated and find the time to do what you got to do. As you make videos, I promise you the first couple months, it's going to seem like it's really hard. And after you've gotten used to it, just like anything else in life, it gets easier. So what used to take me, like I said, a whole day to make a video, maybe 3 days to make a video, now I could probably, if I did all the editing and everything, I could knock out a decent video in probably 7 hours of hard work by myself.
What middle school did you go to?
It was in California. It was a private middle school down in Redondo Beach, California, called St. James.
Is there a YouTuber that removes like, and what do you think about it?
That removes what?
Likes.
Likes? You can't remove likes. Likes are there permanently. You can remove comments, which the internet is filled with a bunch of people that, aren't, they're just horrible people. So I remove content or comments that shouldn't be in public anyway, all the time. There's these things where you can actually block words, and I have a laundry list of blocked words I have on there. So there's that. You can't remove likes though.
How did you come up with your name? What advice do you have for those trying to think of a good name?
A good name. So make sure it's something that people will remember. Okay. And originally, when I worked at Netflix, I was supervisor on the graveyard shift. Everyone called me Graveyard Jim because there was 3 gyms there. So my channel was originally called Graveyard Jim. And then as I started getting into the list, I started just rethinking it. One of my favorite books of all time is World According to Garp. There was a great movie with Robin Williams playing the part of Garp. So I just kind of played off that World According to Briggs. It kind of meshed, it kind of worked. And yeah, I think it was kind of the turning point of the channel when I changed the name. Name's very important. They got to be able to remember it.
Was there ever a time where like, okay, you went into the city that you're planning to do your video, and then it's like, yeah, this is not the day of making a video?
Yeah, I've been to certain places where maybe I got there and the weather was just horrible. That's happened to me before. But there was one thing. What was that? It was a river park. St. Louis? I think it was St. Louis, the one in St. Louis, or there's one in Austin. Anyway, something happened down on the water and they had the whole park blocked off by the police. And that was kind of the whole, actually it was Austin. That was one of the whole reasons I wanted to go there, is to see this river park. There's this old guitarist that was from Austin named Stevie Ray Vaughan. They have a big statue there of him, and I think it's kind of unique. He's just a musician, famous one. He died, and they put a big statue of him up in this park. So I went there to see it, but apparently they had some police activity, and I couldn't go down to the park.
Do you have like a specifics on your like videos that it has to be on this length, or you just kind of like go along the way?
Yeah, normally it's got to be over 8 minutes. YouTube wants you to have it over 8 minutes. They make changes all the time. And if you're not, you could make a 4-minute video. I can promise you won't have much success because you're not living up to what YouTube wants you to do. And if you make it over 8 minutes, there could be 2 ads on your video instead of just the one at the beginning, which is important, not to just you and your income, but to YouTube. They want to be able to put as many ads on a video that's reasonable. I mean, they're not going to put a 10-minute video up with 10 ads. Nobody's going to watch that. So yeah, you got to have it over 8 minutes. And I would say the sweet spot is 8 to 11 minutes. After that, you start losing people. If it's a really good subject, like recently I did top 10 or 100 things to do before you die, which is a play off a book. Um, that one was like 45-minute video and it did really well. But I've done other ones that were like 30-minute videos and they were just too long and people didn't watch them. But most of the time, 8 to 11 minutes.
How many like videos do you make for just one, like let's say 12 minutes? Like, when you take a photo, you take a bunch and then there's only one that's good.
Oh yeah. I mean, so I have tons of my own footage and then there's other places I get footage from. Like if I've never been to a place and I'm talking about it, I got to get the footage someplace and I have places I can go for that. But if I do a travel video, like I did this thing where I went across the United States and back on the Amtrak train, which is a great trip, by the way. Probably not that cool when you're in high school, but as you get older, it's a great trip. But I went across and I probably had 10 hours of actual footage and I made a 15-minute video. So I could probably make 4 videos, but I've only made 1 out of all that footage so far.
So do you need to ask permission that you're doing a YouTube videos? Like if you go like the Amtrak or you go to this city?
No, you don't. Unless I'm trying to get into some restricted area, I got to get, I got to get permission for. But if you're in public, you could film whatever you want. There's laws that say if you're not in a place that has a reasonable expectation of privacy, like your own house, a public restroom, if you're in a place that's the public, anyone can film you no matter what you're doing. Even the police activity. That's why you see so many videos about people filming the police. If they're in public doing whatever they're doing, you could film them. They could ask you to stop. You really don't have to. But yeah, so unless I'm trying to get someplace restricted, I can film wherever I want.
How many videos do you have on your YouTube channel now?
Over 500? I don't know, somewhere around 500. I've deleted a whole bunch, like some in the beginning when I was just doing vlogging. I actually started off trying to do gaming like PewDiePie. I've deleted all those videos. In total, I've probably made 700 videos and I've deleted probably 100 or 200 of them.
Was there any angry people on YouTube that actually like send you some stuff because they're angry or sue you?
Daily. Yeah, I get that all the time. I get angry people all the time. And like I said, the internet is just filled with a lot of weird people. So I get, people take offense when I talk about their hometown in a negative way, like I talked about a relative. So I'll get that a lot of times, that these comments or emails about things like that. But that's just YouTube. That's just the internet. That's how it is.
Did someone ever kind of like stalk you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had a couple of those. But I never show where I live, anything like that, but they'll be on line trying to find out where I live, things like that. I've had a couple of those.
Did you ever make like YouTube shorts?
Yeah, I make some, but my remember how I was talking about earlier about, if you pivot to something else your audience didn't sign up for, you start losing audience. I do shorts all the time because YouTube, not all the time, every once in a while, because YouTube wants you to make shorts. They're really trying to grow that part of the business. They want to knock TikTok off the market. I lose a few subscribers every time I put up one of those videos. Put it this way, my videos, every single video, you can see how many people became a subscriber from that video. Usually it's anywhere from 500 to 50. It's always that. I never lose them. If I do a short, I lose like 3 people every single time. But I start out weighing, okay, so I only lost 3 people. I have almost 700,000 subscribers, but this is kind of what YouTube wants me to do. So I do them occasionally.
So is subscribing to your channel important?
After 1,000 subscribers, it doesn't matter. I mean, you need 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, as they call it. If you slip below 1,000 subscribers, then you get demonetized completely. But I mean, now it's just a thing because I want that gold play button, they call it, this award you get for having 1 million. I'm like desperate to get that. That's like my life mission right now. So whenever I put up a short and I see I lost 3 subscribers, it's like, oh no, I'm 3 away from that 1 million.
What is your top 3 places that you want to visit?
That I want to visit? I want to spend more time in West Virginia. West Virginia is not the best state. It's got a lot of problems, but it is probably one of the most beautiful states we have. That, and I want to spend some more time up in New England during the winter. Probably, obviously, not going to happen this year, next year. You know, this coronavirus has kind of messed a lot of things up, and my travel and my plans have been part of it. I got to pick and choose where I go now.
How old were you when you started, and how old are you now?
I'm, what am I, 54? And I started when I was 48.
Let's see, what else is there asking? Andrew is asking, if I were to make videos on a similar topic as some much larger YouTubers, could I still make it to being somewhat popular YouTuber?
Yeah, you could. I mean, even if you're doing a subject someone else is doing, I mean, obviously don't mimic them, but there's only so many dramas, or there's only so many genres you could do. So nothing is really going to be new. It can be unique the way you did it. That's what you want to look for. I mean, pick a genre that you're interested in, that you think you could stick with for a while, and make it your own. I mean, there's other channels doing what I do, but it's almost like you're watching a documentary and they're just talking and they're trying to be like a tourist person. It's like, come to Washington, D.C., and you could see this, and you could see this, and you could see this. This is amazing during the spring. I tell jokes, I tell stories, and then I talk about the location. So that's where my little twist is, that I'm actually talking to people. That's what most people say. They say when they watch my videos, they feel like they're hanging out with a friend and they're telling them about someplace, not a professional spokesperson.
What is your advice to remove the and pausing?
So there's this program that I use to record, and it breaks it down into these waves. Well, you could see the ahs and the uhs, or you could hear them, and then you just move the little thing and you delete them. It presses them together. And instead of me going, so today I went to the mall and I got something, it now sounds like today I went to the mall and I got something. It's just because I deleted that little part of it.
Oh, so it goes to editing.
It's editing. It's editing. Also, I mean, when I first started, there was a lot of them. Now I'm conscious of it, and I probably every minute of audio that I've recorded, I probably removed 2 or 3. When I first started, I removed 40 in that short amount of time. So yeah, you get used to it and you get better at it.
How many hours do you spend editing?
Well, I don't edit as much now. When I do, it's actually for fun, and I'll take forever to do it because I'm having a good time. But my son usually he's working on a video right now. My son's name's Thor. Thor is down there. He probably started working on it around 7 this morning, and I'm sure he's probably pretty close to finishing it right now.
Are you able to deduct your travels on your business and taxes?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the main reason I became a corporation. I'm now World According Briggs LLC. Had a lawyer do all my paperwork a couple of years ago, and now when I do my taxes, all the 2 cruises I went on this year, train trips, all the equipment I've bought, the new computer I bought yesterday that I ordered, that's all written off.
So what computer do you recommend, and what are you using right now?
Right now, I'm using one that I built. I'll give you the specs on it in case you guys know anything about computers. It's an AMD 5950, which is very fast chip. I have a graphics card GTX 3090, which is probably the best you can get right now. It's in a nice case. I got 128 RAM, so it's got to be powerful. So when you're editing, there's not a stutter. It's kind of smooth. So that's why I have a powerful computer. The downside is this one started having problems the other day, and since my whole business is on that computer, this is the downside of me. I don't want anyone into my account, or if they have my computer, they could go over it and they could maybe even get into my account. So I can't leave it overnight to someone. I have to get another computer and just reload everything. So that's why I ordered another computer. I'm about to sneeze. I'm sorry. Okay, I guess I'm not. Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's a big worry. You could actually get into my account if you could get into this computer, so I can't leave it at a shop. I have to actually either figure it out myself or get a new computer.
Evergreen Middle School is asking and very interested on your shoe game.
My
What are
shoe
your
game?
favorite Nikes?
I'm a big fan of Vapor Max. Actually, I've got probably too many pairs of Vapor Max. I probably have 4 that I've never even worn, but I love Vapor Max. Do you guys know what Vapor Max are? Anyone?
No, what is that?
Here, I'll show you a pair. These are Vapor Max. They're those bubble ones at the bottom.
Oh, they're the one that is only made in here, I think.
Yeah, they those are actually, that's one of the things I worked on when I was working at Nike, was that department. And yeah, they don't, if it's a high-end item, Nike doesn't outsource that. The stuff that you could buy at, I don't know, Walmart and stuff, that's the stuff they make in other countries now.
Going back on your videos, what is the one that you're most proud of?
One that I'm most proud of. One that I'm most proud of. You know, I'm really not sure. I really enjoyed the one I did about 100 things to see before you die. That one I really, really liked. But I really I started doing these ones called What's Up With, where I did a little documentary and just gave you some facts about a place like Los Angeles, San Francisco. I really like doing those ones and I find them very interesting. I've done about 5 or 6. I need to do some adjustments to them because I enjoy them. The crowds really aren't enjoying them that much. So I just want to make them better. And I just really want to do those videos. They just don't get the views. And here's a secret about YouTube. If you have let's say I get 100,000 views on a video in one day, I put it up, by the end of the day, I got 100,000 views. That's kind of the benchmark they put me at. If I have like 3 videos in a row that first day only got 20,000 views, you could tell that the algorithm isn't favoring me as much. So I got to come up with something really good to get back in the good graces of the algorithm. So I always make sure, like, if I want to do those What's Up With videos, but if I do 3 in a row, I'm going to be put on, in YouTube purgatory for a while, and I got to build back up out of that. So yeah, it's a balance game.
Pointer Middle School is asking, other than Thor, do you have any other employees?
Yeah, I have. My other son, Ronan, does all the graphics for me. And then I have a researcher named Ellie. She does a lot of my research for me with each other. We spend a lot of time on the phone talking about research and things we found. So she works for me too. So I have Thor, Ellie, Ronan, and I used to have my other daughter, Honor, but she's now in nursing school, so she kind of quit. And then I have another person, Gina, doing the research for On This Day, which is one of my smaller channels.
What is the best age to start as a YouTuber?
Any age. I mean, like I said, I was almost 50 when I started. So you can be as old as you want. You can be as young as you want. If you're as old as I am, it's a little bit of an uphill battle because, I don't get the younger audience because I'm a little bit older, but my audience is doing just fine for me. I imagine if I was in my 20s, I might run into some problems where the older people don't take me serious, So yeah, it's weird. I think any age, you do whenever you want. I think you have to be like over 12 though to have a channel. So
what was your first ever video, and did you ever go back and I need to redo that?
My first video was actually my son Ronan. It was summer one time, and I went in his room early in the morning, and he was asleep in his gaming chair. Him and his friends had stayed up all night playing a game, and he still had the headphones on, and his hands were on his keyboard, and he was out cold. And so that was the first video I ever uploaded, was just me waking him up. That's it. It's still up there. But I have had some older videos that I've taken down because I thought they were good subjects and they just were in the beginning when I really didn't know what I was doing. So I've taken them down and redone them.
When you were in middle school, what were your favorite subjects? And the same as in high school?
Oh, it's always been history. I've always history, geography, and that's kind of why I do what I do. Those things have always interested me. Matter of fact, I worked graveyard shift at Netflix too. I'd sit there and look at the map and learn about cities all the time while I was working because late night there wasn't much to do. But it's always been history, geography, things like that for me. Math, if I had to take a math test, I'm one of those people that break out and sweat. That's never been my strong subject. Ask me anything about history, and I'm better than a book in some cases.
Okay, so we're nearing our 1 hour time limit. And before we end, did you get the $14 million?
I did not get the $14 million. I'm a ways off from that still. I probably it's growing every single year, but I'm not there. I'm not near there yet.
All right. I guess that is before, what were all your jobs before YouTube?
Before YouTube, God, all the way back to high school, I worked in an auto parts store. I joined the Army, and I stayed there for 12 years in the regular Army and then 8 years in the National Guard. And then after that, I kind of worked doing nothing and worked in my brother's pool business for a while. And then we moved up here and I started working at Netflix. When I was doing the pool thing, it was while I was a stand-up comedian. But Army, stand-up comedy, and this are pretty much my whole career. Other things were only for a couple of years, maybe.
All right. If you guys keep the questions coming, but if not, then we'll let Jim Briggs go. And thank you so much for letting us know what's the world of Briggs.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Is that it? I'm out of here?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good day. Thanks for having me.
You too. Bye.